In a corner of the world that time seemed to have forgotten, nestled among the rolling hills and dusty plains, lay Ravi's village. It was a place of simple beauty and profound hardship. His home, a humble dwelling of mud and straw, had sheltered his family for generations, but as the monsoon rains beat against the thatch and water seeped through the cracks, it was clear that the struggle for survival was a daily reality. This was the foundation upon which Ravi's extraordinary life would be built. His father was a man of the earth, a daily laborer whose strength was his only currency. From sunrise to sunset, he toiled in the fields of others, his back bent under the weight of a life that offered little in return. Ravi watched his father, seeing the physical toll of poverty written in the lines of his face and the calluses on his hands. It was here, in the shadow of his father's labor, that Ravi first understood the value of hard work and the desperate need for a different path. His mother was the silent anchor of the family. Every morning she traveled to the nearby town to clean the houses of those who lived a world away from her own reality. She returned in the evening, her spirit weary but her resolve unbroken. In the dim light of their home, she would sit with Ravi, her presence a sanctuary of warmth and love. Poverty was not just a lack of money. It was a physical presence in their lives. There were nights when the hearth was cold, and the only thing they shared was the silence of their hunger. But in those quiet, difficult moments, a dream began to take root in Ravi's young heart. He looked at the tattered books he had borrowed and saw a way out. He didn't want to just survive. He wanted to live. He wanted to change the destiny of his family, one page at a time. His education began long before he reached the classroom. Every morning, while the rest of the village was still lost in sleep, Ravi was out in the pre-dawn mist. He helped his mother carry heavy pots of water from a well miles away. The path was long, the ground was cold, and the weight was significant for a young boy. But Ravi didn't see it as a burden. He saw it as his contribution. It was during these long, quiet walks that he learned the discipline and endurance that would later define his success. Then came the 5-kilometer journey to school. While other children arrived in buses or on bicycles, Ravi arrived on foot. He had no shoes, no protection from the scorching heat of the asphalt or the sharp stones that lay in wait. His feet grew tough and calloused, but his spirit remained focused on the destination. To him, the distance was not an obstacle, but a bridge. Every step was a deliberate move toward the life he envisioned. He walked with a purpose that few adults could match. In the classroom, Ravi was often invisible. He sat on the last bench, his worn clothes making him a shadow in a room full of brighter futures. But while he was physically in the back, his mind was at the very front. He absorbed every lesson with a ferocity that was almost unsettling. He didn't have the new bags or the colorful stationery of the other children, but he had something far more valuable, an insatiable hunger for knowledge. For Ravi, the classroom was not just a place to learn, it was a sanctuary of possibility. Books were treasures he could only dream of owning. He would wait patiently for hours just to borrow an old textbook from a friend for a single evening. He treated every borrowed book with a reverence that was touching. When he had no paper, he would write his lessons on anything he could find, torn newspapers, discarded wrappers, even the smooth side of a piece of bark. He saw the world as his notebook, and every scrap of information as a precious building block for his future. He was learning to see the value in what others discarded. The village elders, whose lives were defined by the traditions of the earth, often looked at Ravi with a mixture of pity and mockery. "Why do you bother with books, boy?" they would ask, their laughter echoing in the dusty air. "You are the son of a laborer. Your destiny is in the mud, not in the clouds." The words were meant to discourage him, to bring him back to the reality they knew. But Ravi didn't listen to their doubts. He listened to the quiet confidence that was growing within him. He would prove that destiny was not something you were born into, but something you created. When darkness fell, the village was quiet, lit only by the faint glow of kerosene lamps. But for Ravi, the night was just another opportunity. Since his home had no electricity, he found his classroom under the only street lamp in the village. There, in the small circle of flickering yellow light, he would study for hours, oblivious to the mosquitoes that bit him or the cold air that chilled his bones. In that sanctuary of light, the world of engineering and science came alive for him. The street lamp was his beacon, guiding him through the darkness toward a brighter future. Then, the unthinkable happened. His father, the physical strength of the family, suddenly fell ill. He could no longer stand in the fields, and the family's meager income vanished overnight. The weight of survival was suddenly thrust upon Ravi's young shoulders. For a moment, the dream of education seemed like a luxury they could no longer afford. He saw the fear in his mother's eyes and the pain in his father's. He knew he had to act, not just for himself, but for the survival of those he loved most. The boy had to become a man. To support his family, Ravi took a job at a local tea stall after school. Every evening, while his classmates were playing or studying at home, Ravi was surrounded by the steam and grime of the stall. He washed thousands of cups, his hands soaking in soapy water for hours. He cleaned dirty tables and served customers, often being ignored or treated with indifference. The work was physically demanding and mentally draining, but he never let it touch his resolve. In his bag, tucked away in a corner, were his books, his secret world, waiting for the few minutes of rest he could find. There were nights when the burden felt too heavy to bear. One night, after a particularly long and difficult shift, Ravi sat alone in the shadows behind the stall and wept. He felt the weight of the world, the exhaustion of his body, and the apparent impossibility of his dream. "Why me?" he asked the silent stars. "Why must my path be so much harder than everyone else's?" In that moment of absolute despair, the light of his dream seemed to flicker and fade. He was at the breaking point, a young boy lost in a world of adult struggle. But it was his mother's voice that brought him back. She found him in the shadows and spoke the words that would change his life forever. "Ravi," she said, her voice steady and strong. "Life is a storm that tries to blow us off our path. But you were born to be the anchor. You must be stronger than the life that tries to break you. Don't let the darkness take your light." In those words, Ravi found a new kind of strength, a strength that didn't come from his body, but from his spirit. He made a decision that night. No matter what happened, he would never, ever give up. He returned to his studies with a ferocity that was almost superhuman. He found minutes where others found excuses. He studied while walking to the well. He studied during his breaks at the stall, and he studied long after the rest of the village was asleep. He failed his first major exam, and the village's mockery returned, louder than ever. But Ravi didn't hear them anymore. He was focused on a goal that they couldn't even imagine. He wasn't just studying to pass. He was studying to conquer. He tried again, with even greater intensity, his eyes fixed on the distant horizon of his potential. Then came the day that changed everything. The exam results were posted, and Ravi's name was at the very top. He had topped the entire district. The news spread through the village like a wildfire, but this time, there was no laughter. There was only a profound, stunned silence. The boy who they had mocked, the boy who had no shoes, had achieved something that no one else in the village's history ever had. His teachers saw a brilliance in him that had been forged in the fire of hardship. "Ravi," they said, "the village is too small for you now. The world is waiting." With a scholarship in his hand and the hopes of his parents in his heart, Ravi left his village for the great city. It was a concrete jungle, cold, indifferent, and incredibly fast-paced. For a boy who had grown up in a mud house, the scale of the city was intimidating. The noise, the lights, the sheer number of people. It was a world away from everything he knew. But Ravi didn't come to the city to be a spectator. He came to be a participant. He was no longer the boy who was scared of the dark. He was a warrior who had found his battlefield. To survive in the city and send money back home, Ravi worked 3 part-time jobs while attending university. He delivered newspapers in the cold morning air, cleaned offices long after the workers had gone home, and spent his weekends tutoring others. He lived in a room no bigger than a closet, often going to bed with a stomach that growled with hunger. But while his stomach was empty, his mind was full. Every day he was learning, growing, and adapting to the rhythm of the city, often going to bed with a stomach that growled with hunger. But while his stomach was empty, his mind was full. Every day he was learning, growing, and adapting to the rhythm of the city. The years of relentless struggle and absolute dedication finally bore fruit. Ravi didn't just become an engineer, he became one of the brightest and most respected minds in his field. He mastered the complexities of design and the challenges of innovation with a brilliance that was legendary among his peers. The transformation was absolute. The boy with no shoes was now a man of great stature, influence, and wealth. He lived in a world of glass and steel, of boardrooms and global projects. But despite the suit, the office, and the success, Ravi never forgot who he was. He never forgot the rough hands of his father or the steady, loving gaze of his mother. He knew that his success was not just his own. It was a tribute to their sacrifices and a fulfillment of their hope. He had achieved the dream, but he had kept his soul. He was a man at peace with his past and confident in his future. When Ravi finally returned to his village, it wasn't for glory or to boast of his success. He returned to fulfill the promise he had made to himself and his parents. He built them a beautiful new house, a home with a roof that would never leak, and walls that would always be warm. As he touched his parents' feet in the tradition of respect, the entire village watched in awe. The boy they had mocked was now their greatest pride. He had come home not just as a successful man, but as a hero who had never forgotten his roots. He was the living proof that a dream, backed by relentless effort, can change everything. Ravi's legacy was not just the house he built for his parents, but the opportunities he created for others. He founded a state-of-the-art school in the heart of the village, a sanctuary for every child who had a dream and no shoes. He made sure that the next generation of Ravis would have the books, the technology, and the support they needed to reach their own potential. He ensured that no boy or girl in his village would ever have to study under a streetlight again, unless they chose to. He was building a bridge to a better future for everyone, proving that success is only truly meaningful when it is shared. He was a beacon of hope for the entire region. When the village elders, now filled with respect, asked him for the secret of his success, Ravi simply smiled and shared the wisdom he had learned on the hot asphalt roads and under the flickering street lamp. "I never gave up," he told them. "I knew that success doesn't belong to the fastest or the strongest. It belongs to the one who keeps moving when everyone else has stopped. It belongs to the one who chooses hope over despair, even when the path is dark and the end is not in sight." As the sun set over the village, a new kind of light began to shine. It was the light of knowledge, the light of hope, and the light of a legacy that would last for generations. Ravi's story was no longer just his own. It was the story of the village itself. He had shown them that no matter how humble your beginnings, your future is limited only by the size of your dream and the strength of your resolve. He had turned a mud house into a beacon of excellence, and in doing so, he had changed the world. He was the boy who never gave up, and his journey would inspire countless others to do the same. So no matter where you are today, no matter how dark the night seems or how heavy the burden feels, remember, Ravi, your situation is not your destination. Your struggle is not your failure. It is your strength being forged. Keep going, keep dreaming, keep believing in the power of your own effort. The world is waiting for you to shine just as Ravi did. Your future is not written in the stars, it is written in your actions. Never, ever give up. The journey is yours to take.